All right, thank you guys for joining us today. Can you hear me now? I see several comments saying I can't hear you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, awesome. Thank you for your response. I love an interactive audience. All right, so it is officially 1:00 p.m. and we're going to go ahead and get started with our agenda. And just so you guys know, today we are wearing blue and in support of Preventing Child Abuse Month. I hope you guys have had your opportunity for pinwheels and to show your support as well. In the office with me, well, first off, if you don't already know who I am, where have you been? But anyway, my name is Liliana Howard, and I'm your Quality 2 Coordinator for Professional Development and Technical Assistance and Quality Improvement Plans. And in the office with me, I also have
Elizabeth Diola, Chief Program Officer.
Janet Honor, Quality 1 Coordinator.
Michaela Powell, Program Compliance Director.
And out in the internet world, we have the rest of our team listening. If you guys would like to give a shout out, feel free.
We have multiple staff on, so if you have any questions, just let us know.
All right, and I'm going to do a check for something real quick. Okay, I thought I saw a hand up. I guess I didn't, I was wrong. Okay.
I'm looking. I don't know if I can see that.
Okay, all right. So we have another, I love celebrating our providers because you guys do such a special job, and not many people, it takes a special person to be a child care provider. And we on News 6 gave an award called Getting Results to Creative Beginnings teacher, Miss Christine Fowler. She was nominated by her coworkers for this award, and there's this beautiful video showing Christine in her classroom doing the wonderful things that she does and being honored for the work that she does with her children. And that link for that video is in the chat, and it's also on the second page of this agenda. Please feel free to download all the handouts that are available. They will be very useful. The first thing on our agenda is to take a look and see if we have any partner updates. I'm trying to see if we have.
DCF is not on the phone today that I can see, but we do have Marion County Public Schools. I don't know if they have any updates they would like to give.
Does Marion County Public Schools have any updates they would like to give? Maybe I need to unmute you.
And I also see Jill Bertelson with Bertelson Education as a guest on here today.
Vicki, I've unmuted you if you have something you want to say.
Okay, hey, how are you? This is Vicki Nevels. I just wanted to let you all know that we did run our VPK lottery for our 31 public school sites last week, and I'm going to be letting you all know, like usual, those areas of town where my schools are full so that you can get students that have COEs out there in the community, private providers that are still looking, for seats that for certain areas of town that did fill.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And then I have, oh, I hope I say this name right. Antoinette Broadhurst.
The provider.
Oh, that's correct.
Did you have a question?
No, I actually raised my hand earlier when she was doing a mic check.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay. And Bertelson, where are you at?
It's Jill.
Jill, there you are. Jill, oop, I keep trying to unmute you, Jill, and hold on. There you go. Now you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for having me. I guess just a quick reminder that CQI, which is Continuous Quality Improvement Grant for those who have a class score 5 or above, that I know that there's about a month and a half left to apply for up to $19,800 for your center. And we're one of the approved vendors offering that 24 hours of self-paced training, plus we have live coaching sessions via Zoom. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I don't see any other partners on here. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and roll on. And Janet has some VPK updates. Her notes are also available in the handouts if you'd like to follow along.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Whoop, whoop, we love Miss Christine. Oh,
Yes, that's a huge honor. That's awesome. The video is really cute. You guys should check it out if you haven't yet.
I can't hear anything, it says.
Okay.
Okay. Let me try something different.
Are we muted? We're not muted, right?
We're not muted. Try again.
My mic is unmuted. They should be able to hear me on the out.
Can you guys hear Janet now? I can hear all of you, including Miss Janet, Jessica says.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so hello again, everyone. I'm gonna go over the VPK updates, and then following that will be the school readiness update. So with VPK, the VPK orientation makeup will be May 5th. This will be virtually via Teams from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Providers who have missed VPK orientation, you're going to receive an email with a link to accept the invite for the Teams meeting. Please note providers who do not attend VPK orientation will not be eligible to contract for the next fiscal year, which is 23-24 for VPK. Okay. Do I have any questions there? Just put them in the chat. As I used to say.
Put them in the chat.
Yeah.
I don't see any questions
Okay.
as of yet. I will definitely let you know.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to general progress monitoring discussions, which is your PM 1, 2, and 3. There was some questions about newly enrolled students in your VPK program, and whether or not you had to test those students for progress monitoring. And the answer to that is yes. So, and this note is taken from the frequently asked questions on DEL, from DEL, from FAL. Can a VPK program assess a new VPK student that enrolls after the program has already begun? And the answer to that is yes. When a new student enrolls into your program, you should administer the assessment. And this is after the first initial week. You want to give the students some time to get adjusted to their teachers, the classroom, with their peers, and then you want to do the assessment to get a baseline score for that student, okay? Again, any questions there?
There's a question about, do I need to add my name to or anything?
And your name to what?
We need a little more details.
Yeah. I'm asking.
So the answer to that is maybe, once we know more.
Hmm. Tappan, do you want me to just unmute you and you can ask your question?
Yeah.
Tappan, you're unmuted.
Susan Taffin, this is her assistant, Kia. I was just making sure that I was, my name, I didn't know if I needed I know in other trainings and meetings, I have to put my name just to say that I'm there.
We gotcha, thank you.
Making sure, thank you.
You can put your name into the chat and we'll make sure you get credit for being here today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so now that there's no other questions, I'm going to move forward with summer VPK. If you are interested in offering summer VPK, please reach out to the quality department and let us know.
Actually, can we have them, if you are doing summer VPK, can you throw your site name in the chat so that we can make sure we follow up with you? And that way we'll know that you're needing to do that application.
Right.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, because you know with your calendar, you have to set it for 300 hours. Okay?
And you have to be the progress monitor.
Yep. So moving forward, VPK application. So, you have a question?
Okay, I got it.
Okay. So for the 23-24 VPK applications, we are in the process of initiating the VPK apps for providers who have attended orientation and have an approved, completed 23-24 provider profile. Okay. The Quality One team will follow up with providers individually with a deadline to complete your 23-24 VPK app and answer any questions that you may have, okay? It's very important to note that the VPK app is not the VPK contract. A lot of providers get this confused. The app always comes before the contract. So your app must be certified before we can initiate the contract for VPK. Are there any questions there?
No.
Okay, good. This is the fastest that I've gone in a long time.
It is, I'm proud of you.
So with school readiness, first I want to say thank you to all the providers who have been working really hard with the Quality One team in getting your profiles completed for the new fiscal year coming up. We know that we asked you guys for a lot of documentation and we're going back and forth. And you guys have been really good working with us. And with that being said, the profiles for 23-24 were due April 14th. However, if you have not completed your 23-24 provider profile, please be sure to do so. We have extended the deadline for the provider profiles until May 15th, so that gives you another month to get it in. If you're having any issues submitting documents or getting into your portal, please let us know so that we can help you with that. Okay. And then again, just to know, if you're missing any documents that we see you're missing any documents such as your liability insurance, that's going to expire, workers' comp, auto insurance, or your E-Verify, we're going to follow up with you. Your profile may be rejected for these things, and we'll work with you to get it to be active, okay? Do I have any questions with SR updates?
No questions in regard to SR at this time.
Okay, and then the last thing we have for SR updates is last month we did school readiness orientation. We did have 4 sessions. We do know that there were some providers that weren't able to make it. So we do have a makeup session, which will be May 4th. It will be through Teams from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're going to send you an email with a link to accept the invite. Again, it's very important to note, if you do not attend orientation, you will not be eligible to contract for the next fiscal year for school readiness. Okay? So please accept the link once we send it out to you and follow up with us. Okay? That's my speed up for the day.
Okay.
Any questions?
Mhm. So far, no questions.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. And we will continue going down. We have Compliance Corner with Miss Michaela Powell.
Hello, everyone. Today we're going to go over the 5-year record maintenance. Go ahead.
Can you guys hear Michaela? I just need to check real quick. Go ahead and say something, Michaela.
Hello.
Okay, yes, they can hear you. Okay.
Okay, as I stated, we're going to review the 5-year record maintenance for SR and VPK. It states in the contract that the provider agrees to maintain records, including sign-in, sign-out documentation, enrollment, and attendance certification, documentation to support excused absences, and proof of parent co-payments for children funded by the SR program. The records must be maintained for audit purposes for a period of 5 years from the date of the last reimbursement request for that fiscal year or until the resolution of any audit findings or any litigation related to this contract, whichever occurs first. Provider may maintain records electronically, and if the provider does, then you shall have a backup record to safeguard against any loss. That is it in reference to the SR. For VPK, you still have to maintain those records, but you would need to include enrollment for attendance records for children funded by the VPK program, records of each VPK child, VPK instructor, substitute instructor, or VPK director, and other fiscal records for audit purposes for the 5 years. And it's still the same from the last payment for that fiscal year or until any audit findings or litigation related to the contract. In reference to your monitor, when you are being monitored and asked for those documents, if you do not have those documents available for the counselors that come out, we can allow the 72 hours for you to get that documentation. However, you cannot call in and request from staff here at the coalition to send you records from previous, because you are supposed to have that documentation. So again, you cannot call and ask for staff here to provide you with documentation. As far as for the 5-year records, we can provide information after your monitor is complete, but while you are currently being monitored, you cannot call and request that documentation. And just for monitoring purposes with that, for the 5-year records, it is to include children who were terminated or who were enrolled for the past, enrolled and paid for 5 years prior to the date of the on-site visit. Okay, are there any questions?
And I don't see any questions. Hi, Miss Anna Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us from DEL. Okay, and Elizabeth, you're up. Do you want me to pull?
Let me talk about the first one first, which is the workforce initiative. So hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually in the same room as my team on this call. So yay. First of all, you guys have been waiting very patiently for the workforce initiative applications to roll out. There are, if you'll remember, there are 2 different workforce related grants that are out right now. One of them is the Workforce Initiative, and that is 2 applications that will be released late this week. I'm thinking Friday afternoon, maybe even Saturday. And those 2 applications are, one of them is to benefit you as providers for the background screenings, drug testing, and onboarding you've done of hiring new staff since July 1st of 2022. And the second application is to award you and your staff for your continuity of care in the early learning industry. So it will pay you directly as well as your staff directly for the trainings that you have taken, for the degrees that you have earned, and for your years of service at your particular childcare provider. I am tightening up the instructions on both of those applications, and my anticipated release date, because DEL has approved that for us, is either this Friday or this Saturday. So it'll come out through email to you, and there will be specific instructions for each application. And I actually probably will send 2 different emails with the separate applications and instructions to try to keep it as clear as possible. So that is one part of the workforce grants that are out. The second part is
We have a question.
I have a question. Go ahead. Sorry, I should prepare for that.
This is for staff that have been employed, not just those started after July 2022?
Correct. The other clarification is this is only for contracted childcare providers. So you have to be contracted with us for either VPK or school readiness or both.
Is this money tax-free?
No. It is federal grant funds. So there is, as we collect it, there will be a 1099 issued to all the staff, anybody that receives a check from us at the end of the year.
Will this be all coalitions or just Marion County?
I cannot answer that for you because each coalition decided to do the workforce initiative portion differently. I know that our Marion County, we did partner with a couple of other coalitions and we're doing things very similarly, but you would have to ask that directly to your home coalition to find out.
Okay. That seems to be the last of the questions. Oh, wait. So the training for the grant is only for contracted. I thought it said both contract and, so Kim, that's coming up next, I believe, with the
Yes.
world, you're referring to the world-class workforce.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's coming next.
Yep. So we're good on workforce initiative?
We are good on workforce initiative.
Okay, so the other piece with workforce initiative before I move on is that these applications are paper applications. I say that they're paper, they can be filled out electronically. They're paper via PDF. So they're fillable electronically, but you're going to upload these along with the backup documentation required to your provider profile under the documents library. There are 2 folders in there. One is for, I believe it says recruitment, and I didn't write these down before I came in here, and the other one is for your staff retainment. So you'll see the 2 in your document library, and you're going to upload these applications along with the backup documentation requested directly to your provider portal through EFS Mod. That's where you complete your attendance every month. That's where you enroll children every month. So you, I believe, are very familiar with that portal. So let me pause and make sure there's no questions.
Do you have time to explain what the CQI program is, and will you be sending that info also out?
So that's coming up with the world-class workforce that I'm about to talk about in a second. And yes, we'll be sending some additional information out, but I did send information to anybody that's eligible. I already sent that last week to anybody that got a class score of 5 or above.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I've been living, breathing workforce initiative for about 4 months now, so.
I think that's it.
Okay, so that was the workforce initiative piece. That is the simpler of the 2 grants that are out right now. The next one on your agenda is called World Class Workforce. Say that 5 times fast and I'll give you $1. So with the World Class Workforce grant, I am in the process of developing a few decision trees to try to help providers navigate which grants they are eligible for. There's 4 different sections to this particular grant. The first one, and Lily, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the recruit and train. new teachers. This is a draft. I'm going to keep it as a draft because I need a second set of eyes on it before we actually release it out to you. But you can use this to kind of help you navigate a little bit. So this decision tree, it's basically a group of questions that will ask you, it'll help you determine if you're eligible or if you have anybody on staff currently that is eligible for this particular grant. So the recruit and train new teachers portion of world-class workforce basically asks, do you have staff that you hired on or before, or actually on or after, that should say on or after July. This is why it says draft, guys. On or after July 1st, 2022. If your answer is yes, then go ahead and put those teachers' names right there so that you know who you're going to ask if they want to participate in this. If the answer is no, there is nothing else you need to do in this section, and you can close out this form and move on with your life because there's nobody at your site that would be eligible to participate in this. If your answer is yes and you have a list of teachers, then you're going to go down to question 2. Do I have a complete background screening and 120 hours of employment documented for each teacher listed above? So I'm going to add the word documented in there. I have my live version of this up while I'm talking to you. If the answer is yes, then in WebAuthor, which hopefully all of you have gone in and requested your WebAuthor account, you're going to create a profile for each of your teachers that you've listed above. You're going to upload a copy of their background screening and a verification of employment. You can sign off on that verification stating that they've been with you since such and such a date and they've worked this many hours. I believe you might have to do that for another entity too. And maybe I'm wrong, but there's other places that ask you to document work hours too. Not particularly for this grant, but like for other trainings. I think it's is it the 40 clock hours or the CDA where you have to prove the amount of time that you work? I can't remember which, maybe it's one of them, but you can actually use a note or letter, not a note, I would say a letter, uploaded on your letterhead that states how long that teacher has been working with you to verify the number of hours. Or you can use a check stub that shows hours worked, or a couple of check stubs till you get to that 120 hours. So you're going to upload that for each teacher into the WebAuthor system. And as just like with question number 1, if you clicked no, you don't have any of that documentation for the teachers that you hired, I would tell you that they're either not eligible to claim the funds or you're going to collect those from the teachers. Okay, so you should have the proof of work hours, but if you need to get their background screening, hopefully you do have that on file. If you don't, then we probably should have another conversation, or ask your teachers for a copy of the background screening. But I'm going to assume if you say no to this, it's probably because you don't have anybody eligible for it. Okay. The next part of the recruit and train, a portion of the workforce, is the health and safety bonus. So this question is going to help you determine who is eligible for this particular bonus. If you have teachers that you listed above, those teachers are potentially eligible for this portion of the grant. Do you want me to pause? Do I have a question? Okay.
So the question is, if the teacher cannot be a recent hire, they would have to work full-time for at least 3 weeks in order to get the 120 hours?
They have to have, correct. They have to have 120 hours left. Remember, this isn't due until June 30th though. So if you know that they're going to go for it, and that's why we're trying to have these conversations now or as soon as possible. You still have time to go, okay, I know I need to make sure let's say by the end of May or beginning of June, this person will have clocked their 120 hours and I'm going to upload that documentation. Any other questions? Okay. So for the second portion, which is the health and safety bonus, of the teachers listed above, did anybody complete their complete DCF 40-hour intro courses, parts 1 and 2, or if you are a school readiness provider, did they do collaboration trainings on or after July 1st, 2022? So if the answer is yes, then you're going to upload that document, that certificate for that teacher, and they will be eligible for that bonus. Now, what I do want to tell you is these bonuses that are paid to teachers, they go directly to the teacher. So you don't have to worry about trying to get the money and then paying them afterwards. And I'm going to pause for a question.
So first question is, once the application is submitted for each employee, how long does it take for them to receive their funds?
It depends on how long it takes them to complete the trainings. So if it's something that they've already done, we're in the process of working through. So here's what I'm going to tell you. We are in the process of hiring 4 temporary staff to process all of this information. That, just like you know, when you're trying to hire a teacher, it takes a little bit of time. You have to go through the interview process. You have to get the right person in that seat, and then you have to teach them how to do what you need them to do. So I'm going to ask for your patience. I can't tell you how long it will actually take us to cut a check, but I can tell you that if you get it uploaded, and like I have one provider who uploaded something last week, and I really wanted to look at hers to make sure. She asked me to, can you look at this and make sure it's right? And I'm hoping I can get to that as soon as possible so that they can move forward. But, you know, put it in there and we will process it as soon as we can. So I can't give you a deadline per se. I can tell you, I would say by mid-May, we're probably going to be rocking through this and getting some people actually paid. Because weirdly enough, it is already the middle of April. So that's the health and safety bonus. Do I have another question to cover? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, do they have to complete the 40 hours and the test? The exams?
I would have to actually look at the guidance for that. I don't believe so. I think if they actually do the 40 clock hours, that is sufficient. But keep in mind, the purpose of this is not just to pay your teachers a bonus. The purpose of this is so that you have teachers that have the training under their belt that can stay in your site, at your site. So if you want to require them to have that before you upload it, I would say that's a really good idea, because then you know it's done and you know you're not worried about DCF or any other entity coming in, your accrediting agent coming in and telling you that you have teachers that are out of compliance.
How long does it take to approve the elcvarian.webauthor account? Mine still shows submitted.
Okay, so we're working through those. I don't know when you submitted it. When we released it, we got probably about 80 in one fall swoop. Now, one thing I will tell you about the web author is there's a couple of you that only checked like the health and safety grant. Those of you that only checked one grant, we're going to go back and go, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to just check them all just in case? And because just because you check the box doesn't mean you have to apply. It just gives us a heads up of what we're going to be looking for you. So there's a couple of you that really, I was shocked. I'm like, I don't think they meant to do that. So there's some of you that if you haven't gotten approved yet, or if it's been kicked back to you, really read what the comment is in there. And if there isn't a comment, give me a call or shoot me an email. You can give me a call too. I'm gonna do my best to get back to everybody, but shoot me an email and say, I'm not approved yet, why? Or it got kicked back to me and I don't know why. Just all I can tell you is remember, we're learning this system along with you. And when we first started kicking them back or returning them to people that hadn't fully completed it, or here's another thing, that electronic signature, I know it's a doozy, I do. I actually went in and sent the link to myself on my cell phone so that I could sign it easier, and then it saved it to it. Some of you put literally 2 dots as your signature and we had to reject it back. So it could be something as simple as that. So if you're that 2-dotter signature person, that's why I got kicked back to you. So we have to have some semblance of an actual name in there. It's not easy though, I know that. Especially I have my acrylics on because I love them, and that's just not, it's not user friendly. Any other questions?
So this is a clarifying question. So if they can't schedule all their tests for the 40 hours, they would still qualify, is the question? And I believe you said you were going to look into that.
I will have to look into the details on the guidance for that. But I do think we can approve it without the exams, because we also know that exams are based on other people having to schedule like them being available, and I don't want to hold anybody back. So my answer today is going to be no, but I would highly, highly suggest that you make your staff get those exams, at least get them scheduled so you can stay on them. The last thing we want is for you to have staff that are not eligible to teach because they didn't finish. So next.
That's it for
That's
questions
it.
for now.
Awesome. Okay. So the last part of the recruit and train class bonus, of the recruit and train portion is the class bonus.
My favorite.
This is Lily's favorite. So this is actually quite a bit of training that has to go, and these are specified trainings. And on the second page, it tells you how to get, this requires a Teachstone account and a product key for specified classes from our staff in order to have your new staff participate. So page 2 of this tells you the instructions on how to get them. There may be a typo in here that we found. One of our providers helped us find about learn about or something.
Can you guys see the page 2?
So when you get your Teachstone account, there are certain things in there that are really, they're self-paced and you don't need a product key. And I believe that's the learn about classes. Is that correct?
So I'm going to talk a little bit about this one, if that's okay.
Yeah,
Is
go
that okay? All right. So number one, I want to thank everybody who has understood and has been sending me your requests for Teachstone subscriptions. You guys have really grasped the idea that in order to do the learn about videos and the class foundation for teachers courses that you need a Teachstone subscription. However, I would like you to please keep in mind that this only qualifies for those teachers that were hired on or after July 1st of 2022. And I do realize that there was a typo that said before in some places, but we're going to get that fixed. But it is on or after July 1st, 2022. And I've been receiving a lot of requests for subscriptions for teachers I know have been there forever. So, because I've seen them in my professional development. So please keep that in mind when you're making these requests. Because there is a limited number. We have plenty, but there is a limited number, especially for the product keys. Now, the class foundations for teachers, pre-K, I have the product key for that. That is entered into your Teachstone dashboard through your Teachstone subscription. My Teachstone Learn About class videos does not require a product key. And it is videos that you watch through the Learning Resource Library in the Teachstone subscription. The Class Foundations for Teachers is an online course that you go through, and it's about 21 hours.
And in case you all are wondering what she is talking about, page 3 of this particular document on your screen has the actual courses. And that's what I wanted to get into to kind of differentiate who has to take what and how to look at these colored items, because Lily's specifically talking about them and we didn't quite get that far yet.
But I just wanted to let you guys know that that's how Teachstone is related to these trainings and what requires a product key and what doesn't.
So that third page, what Lily was just discussing, when you see the colored sheets, I sent out the schedule a while ago, and I'll tell you, we were really trying to make it as clear as possible, and we were successful in making it as clear as mud.
That's not the third page, is it?
So the third page of the decision tree.
Is it the upskill director?
No.
This one?
The recruit and train.
It's still the recruit and train. Okay.
You have it pulled up in the side. Can everybody see the gold colored? Okay. So the way we broke up the schedule is that we have the actual domains, right? The recruit and train teachers. Inside of that is 2 different courses that a new teacher hired on or after July 1st, 2022 can participate to receive a $600 bonus. So they can either take the preschool track, which is the class foundations for teachers that Lily was just mentioning, as well as the My Teachstone Learn About class videos. Both of those are self-paced courses. They're available anytime after you get that product key for the class foundations from Lily. with your Teachstone subscription, which everybody has to have to take any Teachstone related courses, the learnabouts are already available. You don't need a product key for that. So if you have a teacher that chooses to take both of those courses, they're eligible for $600 bonus, and you would have to upload the certificates for both of those courses to the web author. Okay. Now the infant toddler track is a little more involved, and that actually has some guided training in it. We tried to make all the training online available for this, and that includes, so a person taking the infant toddler track under this section of the grant would have to take the class primer for infant and toddler teachers. We do not have the codes for that quite yet. So as soon as they are available, anybody that is requesting them will get those. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for that, because that's a 3-hour course, while you're waiting for that, those participants can take the learnabouts that are already available through your Teachstone subscription, and the Thinking and Thriving, that's a course that is going to be guided by an actual facilitator through Teachstone. They only need to register for one of these. Teachstone should be sending us the registration sheets pretty soon here. And so those are available. We have May 2nd, May 4th, May 9th, and May 11th. And May 11th is Spanish for our teachers that are Spanish speakers primarily. That course is from 4 to 8 p.m. on all of those dates. That is the schedule that we have.
And I will be putting those registration links on our website on the calendar dates that correspond with the given dates for those trainings,
As soon as they're
as soon as they're available.
The next one is Building Community and Interactions. That's a 6-hour course. It's self-paced. That's available. I believe we have to have a product key for it,
We don't have that product key yet. for
but you
Teachstone.
do need a product key for that. The other two are the Intro to Infant and the Intro to Class. We have dates, so I will update those dates on here as we send this key out so that you know when those are. But they are actually later. I believe they're in June. So
And they're virtual.
they are virtual, but those are facilitated courses with an instructor.
And
So-
those registrations will be on the calendar too.
So let me pause and see if there's any questions, because this is very, very intense and very detailed. And this is only the first part of this grant.
Okay, so the question is, we have someone who wants to know if they can apply for the Workforce Initiative for long-time staff if they're contracted with Marion, but Marion is not our home county.
Yes, I believe we did. This is going back to the Workforce Initiative grant. That's the 2 applications that will be released later this week that you're going to upload to your provider portal. I do believe we did make concessions for our out-of-county providers so that you could participate in that.
Okay, and then there's a question of, as of now, there is not bonuses for existing teachers for taking class trainings?
Read that one more time.
I believe the question is they're wanting to know, what about the teachers that have, the existing
already
teachers
taken
that have already taken it but were hired prior to July 1st, I think is what you're saying. Is that what you're saying, Jessica?
So I think I hear what you're saying. You're saying if they already took these classes,
saying
can they get credit for these bonuses? So let's talk about,
That goes into another part of the
Well-
grant that the site might qualify for,
it doesn't,
right?
I want to look further into that. There is some conversation at the state level about, can we use it for the CQI training plan if they've already taken these trainings and it was before July 1st. So there is some of 2022. There is some conversation. Let me get some clarification on that to see, because we agree with you. It's not fair to make somebody take the course again just because they took it before July 1st. I know Marcy and I have had a lot of conversations about this. It's possible. So I don't want you to feel defeated just yet. Okay, let me look into it. Yeah, let me look into it. Let me leave
She
it at
says, thank you.
before July 1st. Okay, I wrote myself a note because it would be nice if we could, and I would like to recognize people for that, especially with this CQI plan. So are there any questions about the recruit and train new teachers decision tree that we just went over? And do you find this helpful to try to decide who you should worry about and who you shouldn't as far as applying?
Okay, we just got, okay.
A bunch of questions. Okay,
Is,
here we go.
so yes, it is helpful.
Okay, good.
Let me scroll up. They moved my reader. Is there any bonuses for staff that has been with us before July 1st? And that's from Kim Gaines
Yes, that's in the workforce initiative applications that are coming out later this week.
for contracted providers, right?
Yes, for contracted providers as well. But there's also, if you're not a contracted provider, we're going to get into the other. We've only hit the first portion of world-class workforce, so.
Okay. And then what about teachers that have been with me for 3 years? Is there a retention bonus?
Yes, that's in the workforce initiative portion.
Okay, and do you have a specific deposit form that needs to be uploaded? I believe it's the
Yes.
same vendor
It's the vendor direct deposit form, yes.
that you can also get from the professional development portion of the website, of our website.
Yeah, it's on the ELC website under provider and professional development, if you need
Mhm.
that.
Okay, so good afternoon. We went through change of ownership. So all my staff members were hired on September 30th. Do they qualify for the grant?
Yep, they would. Now, don't you all go getting that idea in your head, because just saying, yes, they would. It would be, you'd be considered a new business because it was a change of ownership. So yes, they would be considered new hire.
And we
You're
got,
welcome for that.
and we got, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay,
We good?
I think so.
Okay, could you pull up the upskill director one for me? So I've only been able to put together 2 decision trees. I know I am slacking terribly. But the second one that I have is the decision tree for upskill directors. We had a lot of directors that are going, who takes this? Do I take it? Does somebody else take it? What if I have 2 directors at my site? So are you a director at your childcare facility? If the answer is yes, then you keep going. If the answer is no, then nope, you don't qualify. So the second question is, have I taken any of the following courses? And the courses are all listed. If the answer is yes, the courses are listed down under the no. I'm sorry, I could not figure out a better way to put that in there. It's like yes or no. So if you've taken courses that are in this list down there under the no, then you're going to qualify for this grant. I am checking into the time frame of when you had to take those courses, because it also, your question about if they took them before July 1st is valid for this one too. So I will find out the answer to that. And if you didn't take any of those courses below, that doesn't knock you out of being eligible for this. It basically says, you're going to go down to question 3. Are you willing to take those courses? If you're willing to, and you're like, yeah, I do have some time and I would like to do this, then you're going to keep going down to the next one. If no, then you're good. Don't worry about it. You just earned a little bit of extra time in your life. But then you can go down to question 4. If you finished any of those courses, we're going to ask you to upload them to WebAuthor and upload the certificates to WebAuthor. And then if you're still taking them, then by June 30th, you want to try to get enrolled in whichever courses that you need, that you still need. Some of you are enrolled in class group coaching now. Some of you took class group coaching with us before. So we have actually 2 different tracks that you can take for the upskill directors portion. Of course, I don't have that pulled up the right way for myself to look at. So can we scroll down to question 4?
Sure.
If you finish this, and actually that might be the end. Nope, that's not the end. Okay. So
Does it show question 4? Did it show? Can you guys see
Can you
it?
guys see question 4?
Back.
Okay, so question 4 is basically going to tell you if you finish,
Finish courses.
Yep, if you finish the courses, upload your your certificates to see with which items you might still need to finish or upload. And then I will be adding, this is again why it says draft, I'll be adding some directives to the next, because the next page on this, because there is going to be a question 5, or there's going to be additional pieces to question 4 that says, do you need more trainings? If the answer is yes, then you're going to go down to the next page, which is basically a repeat of what you saw before. How do you get your Teachstone subscription? How do you get your your product keys? So that's repeated there. And then I will include another page. My computer just.
We have a question.
Okay, hold on. So the last page on here will also include the 2 tracks for the upskill directors once I get this completed to send out to you. Because I have that in here, like it's ready to go and it's not quite finished yet. So what is your question?
Do you have to take all these classes? And I answered, yes, if you do the upscale directors, you have to take all those classes. And
Well,
then
so
If you do the upscale
let-
directors, right?
let me clarify. So that list is actually a combination of both tracks. So it's possible that you already finished one entire track under the upskill directors. So if you took probably, there's a couple of different ways you could do it, which is why we're telling you to check and see what you already have, because you may already qualify for this.
Okay. All right, and then what about rehires and maternity leave? As
What
far
about
as the
them?
July 1st, 2022.
So maternity leave, if they were hired on or after July 1st and then went on maternity leave, that would be fine. If they were hired before July 1st and went on maternity leave, they were still hired prior to. So no, they would not be eligible for, what was the other one? It was maternity
It was
leave.
maternity leave and rehire.
Rehire means that they are starting over with you. So if you rehired them after July 1st, then yes, they would be eligible.
Okay, and can assistant directors take the directors section?
Do they act in the capacity of a director at your site? So if they act in that capacity, meaning if your director is off-site and your assistant director who holds a director's credential is there acting in capacity of the director, then yes, they can take it.
Okay. And would you like to share that you're going to talk about this at PD podcast too?
Yes, I'm also going to, because we're running out of time. So I will be going over pretty much all of this, and we will have the decision trees updated that we're going to roll out to you all too at that time. And we can keep talking about it. So the other 2 pieces though, and here's the thing with the upskill directors, if you take this course, the next portion of this grant is the child success portion, and that holds the other 2 pieces. So the child success portion of the world-class workforce grant includes 2 different components. One of them is if your class score is below 5. If your class score is below 5, you can participate in the child success grants. And that is, those are 2 different sections of grants, and those are pieces that we've sent out information already. Those are specified courses that you have to take. And your director had the opportunity to come to a class certification, I'm going to call it the wrong thing. So I don't have it
Class
in front of me.
observer?
Yes, the class observer course. Now, here's the thing. If you are going to participate in the child success grants, you cannot participate as a director in the upskill directors portion of this grant. So it's a little caveat, and it's probably very confusing. So we'll look at that on an individual basis with you all. So the child success portion, it consists of segments 1 and segments 2 for providers who scored below a 5 on their class. And then there is a second part, which is the CQI grant. That's the one that most of you really, really want to know about. It's a continuous quality improvement grant. And it is for providers that have scored 5 or above on their most recent class observation. Now that one, you do have to complete a training plan. And earlier you heard Ms. Jill Bertelson from Bertelson Education talk about their opportunities. I sent out to all of our providers who scored a 5 and above a list of approved participant partners for the CQI. There are lots of different training opportunities. Now, something that our county is doing differently than some other counties are choosing to do is we are giving you credit for trainings that your site has taken between July 1st, 2022 and now. So a lot of you participated in conscious discipline, let's say. We had quite a cohort of people that would come to those trainings. So if you did that, those trainings, then we can count that towards your training plan. But you do have to complete a training plan, and I sent it with that email. You have to complete your training plan, upload it to WebAuthor. We need to review it, and you're eligible for funding up front for this grant. In the training plan, it includes a budget. It includes the teachers that you're including in your training plan. Please remember, all of the teachers on your training plan have to participate and finish in order for you not to have to pay back any of that money. So let me say that one more time. It's very important for you to understand. If your teachers don't finish the trainings that you are on your training plan by June 30th, you may be responsible for paying back the funds that we gave you to a certain extent. Now, we know that there is attrition. We know that people leave. We know that you hire new staff. So the people that are on your training plan, if you lose a staff member, we're probably going to find out the details around that. If you lose 4 staff members, we're probably going to ask you more questions, okay? Our goal is not to get money back from you. Our goal is for you to have these funds and to use them to better your site. So with the CQI plan, you need a training plan uploaded to WebAuthor. You need to really look at what trainings your staff have already taken. Decide if you want to enroll in something like what Ms. Bertelson is offering for your site, which, you know, theirs is an interesting thing. You can get your whole site training for $850. And that's pretty awesome. And I believe, I'm not sure if Jill's still on the call. I believe that I saw something where they are now partnering to give CEUs. So there are multiple partners that I put in that document that offer trainings that also offer CEUs, which is a huge benefit to your team. And we have lots of questions, I'm sure.
Okay, so first question is below 5 class score for 21-22 or 22-23, and it's the most recent class score, right?
It's your most recent class score. It doesn't matter to me or to us with this grant, which fiscal year it was for, which programming year it was for. It just matters what your most recent score is.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Now, does that include VPK providers if they are now having a composite score?
That's it. My team's not allowed to ask any more questions.
Okay.
No. So that is a question. No, it's a very valid question. I'm giving her a hard time. But it's a very valid question. It's a question we have up to the state. I believe we can use that. If you're a VPK only provider, I believe we use that score. If you are a school readiness provider, then we're going to use your composite score. So if you're VPK only, we'll use your VPK class score. If you are a school readiness provider, we're going to use your composite score from your school readiness program.
All right, and so to clarify, teachers who were hired prior to July 2022 are eligible for a bonus paid based on their length of service and training level. This is whether or not they do extra training.
Yes, and that is through the Workforce Initiative Grant. And just to repeat that, those applications will come out later this week. They have not been released yet. And those will be uploaded to your provider portal into the document library.
Okay, and then if someone already took a course in our training plan before July 1st, can one person take an equally different course?
So what I think you're saying, Neil, you might have to clarify that for me. So I'm looking into whether we can count trainings that were taken through Teachstone before July 1st for all of these grants. So if you have that question for one portion of the grant, I'm going to look into it for all of them. I think what you're asking is, can they take a different but related course later to get credit?
Do you want me to unmute her? It's Lisa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Lisa, let me find you.
We're gonna all the teaching modes right now. I want to hear it. Maybe I can answer it better.
Okay, let me find you, Lisa, and get you. Okay, Lisa, you are, well,
You were unmuted.
you were. Okay. Oh, you're self-muted. You gotta unmute yourself. Can you unmute
Lily's
yourself?
never gonna let me go before her again, ever.
Lisa, I don't know what's going on, but
Okay, so Lisa, what I would tell you is shoot me an email. You guys, we talk regularly, so you can call me or shoot me an email and I'll do my best to answer it. The other things I have to tell you before I know we're running out of time. And any questions, Lily's gonna pull the chat. So if you have questions, just put them in the chat and I'll see about sending and everything to everybody, answers to all your questions.
and she'll be there on Friday,
And I'll
guys.
be here on Friday. I am taking over the PD podcast on
12:30
Friday.
to 1:30.
12:30 to 1:30, probably 12:30 to 3:30, but the way this is going. But we'll be there. We're gonna be besties by the time it's done. Actually, you already are. Okay, so let me go down on though, because I have some really important things and I wanna make sure we get them in 30 seconds. ARPA round 1, everybody has been paid out. So we were, yay, that is all paid out. ARPA round 2, the one-time payments, everybody has been paid out. So yay. ARPA round 2, part 2. You guys might remember, because you guys have a great, and I don't know if it's just me, you're like, I wrote down what you said and I was so impressed, but a lot of people told me, you said April 5th. I logged on April 5th and nothing was there. And you're right. DEL actually pushed back the date for ARPA round 2. I'm calling it part 2. I don't know, other places it's called the final payment. But I didn't want anybody to get confused if they didn't get their last payment. So yeah. So ARPA round 2, part 2, or the final payment, is going to be released on April 27th. You will log into your provider portal, probably to do your attendance anyway. Yeah, because you do that. So when you log in, you're going to look at the same place where your ARPA certifications were. And there should be another one opened up that day. Notice I said should, because I don't know. My crystal ball is foggy, but this is what they told us, is April 27th. You will only have about 10 days to fill out that certification. And what will happen from there, the coalition will go in, make sure you are a legitimate provider. And it should be a very short certification. And then we will certify it. And I don't know what to tell you about the amount this is going to be. It's basically going to be a roll up of anything that hasn't been paid out through ARPA for the whole state. And it'll be divvied back down to everybody who has filled out that certification. That is my understanding. That payment should be made out to you by June 30th then. So it's a very quick turnaround for all of this. But please do, you can mark April 27th on your calendar. And if you log in at 12:01 on April 27th, refresh it again, because I don't know when they're going to upload it on that day. But it should be that day. So that's a very important date for you. Do you want me to just keep going with the survey and then you can talk?
I said all I needed to say about the podcast. You're gonna be
Okay.
there. That's the
Yes,
biggest
I'm going to
thing.
be there. Okay, so let me skip down and this is the last thing on our agenda. Are there any questions?
There's 3 more questions.
Okay, go ahead. Let's do the questions first. I'm sorry.
So I think this ended up being a second part to the first question. The first question was, if we lose an employee, can we replace the employee with a new hire so we retain the same amount of people training?
You can, but honestly, if you lose one throughout this next 45 days, let's say, we're not going to hold you to that. If you lose 5 though, or if you lose an abundance of people that are on your training, it's going to look like you're just trying to get out of finishing it and keeping your money. So we are going to have a talk with you about that. So as we see these things, we'll individually reach out to you, but we do understand that we know your industry. We know it. We all worked it. We've all been there before. So we are going to be as flexible as we possibly can.
And how many teachers do you suggest we sign up for trainings?
It has to be all of them if you're going to apply for the Child Success Grant or the CQI. It has to be your entire teaching staff plus your director.
Do all employees, including new employees, have to be listed?
Yes.
And I'm wondering if they're talking about like the cook and the,
Only if they teach in your classroom. That's what we're holding you accountable to. Remember, the purpose of this is not just to give you money. The purpose of this is to increase your class scores and is to increase the quality of the services that you're providing to the children in your care. That is the purpose. So all of your instructional staff and your director, don't forget, and your director.
thank you.
Is that all of them?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna skip back down really quickly to the provider needs survey. So the Division of Early Learning has developed some surveys that will go out to providers once your contract is finalized. And it is about the services the coalition provides to you. So you will receive a survey via email, I believe. I don't have any other details aside from that. But the coalition, DEL, is holding the coalitions accountable for the services we provide you. I think you all know we do our very best to provide you with the very best service we possibly can. And, you know, if you have, and this is a courtesy that I'm just asking you, if you have an issue with any of our team or something that we're doing, give us the opportunity to make it right for you or to do the best we can. Sometimes things are out of our hands, like the April 5th date. That was way out of my hands. But we will do the best we can to try to work with you. But do also be honest on your surveys. You know, the survey will come after you become a contracted provider with us. And also, just so that you know, your parents that are in the school readiness program or the VPK program, actually, I don't know if the VPK one is true. I can tell you for sure, school readiness families that are enrolled, once they become enrolled at your site, DEL will also send them a survey about our service of enrolling them in school readiness. So the families will receive that survey as well. So the state is really taking customer service to the next level and trying to make sure that you are getting what you need and that the families are getting what they need through the early learning coalitions. This is, for those of you that are listening from beyond Marion County, this is an entire statewide initiative. So everybody will be getting these surveys throughout the whole state for people that are enrolling in our services. So, you know, for me, I'm on year 19 here. I look forward to feedback because I don't feel like there's a lot of growth without feedback. And I think that this could be a good thing. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that these are coming. The other thing too is I'm putting together a survey because the coalition we are getting ready to plan our budget for next year and we want to know how to support you better. One of the things that I have realized through all these grants is that you and your teachers are very burnt out of professional development. Everybody is trained out, and I also think by June 30th, getting through these workforce initiative grants, you're going to be even more trained out. Typically, we like to host a lot of training opportunities for you, but we really do need your real raw feedback on what would really benefit you, because we have given you tons of cash this year through grants. In the past, we've given lots of materials. We still try to accompany the professional development that we offer with materials that your teachers can go back and use right away in the classroom. That is not going away, but we want to get more structured feedback from you. So I will be putting together a survey. It may be a little lengthy because it's going to involve a few different questions. But I would really appreciate your feedback so that we can really do things that are impactful for you. And the other, and I know we got two questions. The other thing I want to let you know is that we're seeing a huge increase in parents with children with behavior issues. I know I don't have to tell you that, but they're coming here asking for specialized services. I have reached out to a few of you with specific parents recently, people that I know either have openings or have specialized trainings in different fields. Please note, we are not allowed to recommend anybody, so we give everybody a list. Every parent that comes in here gets a list from one of our certified CCR&R specialists first, and then we kind of go in there and we're like, you can call everybody on this list if you need to. But we are trying to put some things in play to help with the behavior issues, and Help Me Grow is working with a lot of community partners to expand services, and we're trying. But the other thing that we're trying too is to really get our providers, the teachers at your sites, the training that they need to handle kids when they are really not fitting in, so to speak. I don't know a better way to say that. One of the things I'm going to tell you is I saw some behavior reports from providers recently, and one of the things I noticed is that there's a lot of downtime in between transitions. What I'm going to tell you as a former teacher, and you guys probably know this, those of you on the call, but the more downtime, the more idle hands, guess what happens?
Yeah.
What happens?
They find something to do.
They find something to do with those hands, and it might be putting them on their friends, and that's not what we want. So I would highly encourage you, as you're working with parents and you're seeing children coming in with different behaviors, let us know what you're seeing, but also look at your scheduling in your classrooms. See if it's still working. It might be time, because we've been so focused on other things and just trying to get through a pandemic that sometimes we need to look at that scheduling piece and make sure that we are covering what needs to be covered in the classroom, but meeting the children's needs too, and your teachers' needs. And then the last thing I want to say is that we are working with the foster care system, Foster Florida. And I know about a year ago, we asked some providers if they were willing to be drop-in locations for foster families, for KCI and DCF when they have a foster child, so that the kid is not sleeping on the floor in somebody's office at midnight. So if you are still willing to be a partner in foster care drop-in care for child care services, we know that there's a lot of uncertainty that comes with that, like will the foster family get subsidized child care, and when will it kick in, and all of that. So we're working on our end to make that a smoother process. But if you are one of those facilities that is still willing to take, and you have the capability of taking a foster care drop-in, I would love an email, or you can send it to Latricia Sims. She's my work wife, but she is actually over this, and I told her I would ask and see what providers are still willing to take those kids or have the capacity to take those kids. Because I know probably all of you want to take them. It's just, do you have the capacity? So, all right, that's it. Let me answer questions, and then we can say bye, and thank you for letting us stay late.
So we got a wonderful suggestion
Okay.
For parenting classes for parents with children with behavior issues. Thank
Okay.
you very much. We'll definitely take that into
Yes,
consideration.
thank you. Love that. Do you want to say out loud what it is so everybody knows? Go ahead.
Oh, they just said, suggest a parenting class.
Oh, suggest a parenting class.
Having
I got
parenting
you.
class
Okay, yes.
for
I
parents
thought
with
you
children
had one
with
in mind. I was like, yes, bring it.
Yeah, I was hoping to, but no, that's where it ended.
We
But
do
thank-
have parents as teachers right now, and we're looking into another for next fiscal year called Incredible Years. So that's going to be coming.
Okay, and then question in regards to the grant. I have one teacher that was hired before July 1st, 2022. Is she required to take the classes as well? And it's yes, if they're doing the Child Success Grant or the CQI grant, right?
So I'm looking into okay, they said they hired the person before July 1st.
Before July 1st.
Okay, so they would not be eligible for the training recruitment grant at all, but we could potentially look into what they would be eligible for with the CQI or the Child Success Grant.
Okay. And then can you send a sample budget for CQI?
I cannot. That is up to you. What I will tell you is the maximum amount any provider can be awarded is $19,800. And you can basically use that funding for anything that you need at your site. It does have to go back into your site. It can be in the form of bonuses to your teachers. It can be in the form of paying for training. So if you are to sign up for one of the training courses, such as the Burleson education one, then, which is not a plug, I just like when people come in, we can't support any one particular group, but when people come in as guests, I appreciate the time that they take to do that. So they can, you can pay for training, you can reimburse your staff for the hours, because oftentimes we don't get paid for going to training, right? And it's after hours. You can buy supplies for your classrooms, you can build, you can do, pretty much anything you want to do with those funds, as long as it goes back into your business, to your childcare business.
if a teacher was hired on 7-1 but already had their hours, do they qualify?
Not for the recruit and train, they would not qualify for the health and safety portion, but they would qualify for the very first one that we talked about, which I believe is the recruit
Recruit and train.
portion.
Yeah.
And then if they wanted to take the class portion, they could.
So we're coming close to 15 after the hour, and I just want to say that I'm looking forward to seeing all y'all on the PD Talk podcast when we have our honored guest,
You guys
Elizabeth
are gonna-
Viola.
You're gonna put me through it.
And that meeting will be recorded.
Oh, boy.
So I
So
look
be
forward
here
to
for
seeing
that.
all of
Okay.
you there. And I thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Thank
your extra
you.
time and your time at all.
Okay. Thank you.